So this week for the weapon roll video, just going to have a quick run through each of the vendors and then we'll do the top 5. So I'll start that one again, that was a bit quick. The How Dare You, X-Axtras, Teacup Tempest, and then swig down the bottom here. See if you like any of these rolls. Crucible Quartermaster's weapons this week. Party Favor. Party Favor isn't too bad. Something Wicked. Then Horizon and Anton's Rule. That's not a bad roll, but not great. The Future War Cult weapons this week. We've got the Wormwood, Warpath, and that's it. Jet Orbit's weapons this week, starting with the Extremifile there, Keystone, Worlds to Come, Last Ditch, Bitter Edge, Unto Dust. And New Monarchy's weapons this week. At the Vanguard Quartermaster, we have the Parthian Shot is a pretty darn good roll this week. We've got Rangefinder, Handlaid Stock, which is probably the preference here with that massive increase in stability. Certainly well worth it for a slight reduction in range, which isn't too bad anyway. And then Appended Magazine, increased mag size, slower reload. The additional bullets for slower reload, you know, maybe, but for mine, Handlaid Stock with that significant increase in stability makes it more like a laser for such a heavy hitting pulse rifle. With Outlaw, precision kills dramatically increase reload speed, or life support. We've got kills with this weapon while critically wounded have a chance to start regenerating health. So that can also be handy if you're in a 1v1 or something like that and you've taken a fair amount of damage. With the Red Dot Aura 2 sights, Quick Draw IS, or the OEG. OEG is not a terrible one for a pulse rifle. The Aura 2 isn't too bad either, or Quick Draw. They're not the world's greatest sights. They're not terrible sights either. You might run OEG on this one. We've also got the Angel's Advocate here is definitely worth a look with the Firefly braced frame. Now the downside here on this scout is that you have a reduced magazine size, but the increase in stability is significantly worth it. Alternatively, you could run High Cal, which gives you a bit like the old Mida with a Firefly, High Cal, and then Zen Moment gives you an additional bonus to stability when you get damage, or Icarus. Icarus on a scout really isn't terribly handy, but Zen Moment coupled with braced frame and Firefly, I would certainly be running that combo there, although you could run High Cal if you really wanted that stagger. With Red Dot Aura here, the FLA 5, not too bad in PvP, although it's really for kind of more longer range, that one, although correct me if I'm wrong please in the comments below. And the OEG, again, you might go with that sight there as well. The FLA 5 maybe, OEG probably. Future War Cult have some pretty decent weapons this week. We've got the Waltz here is a pretty darn good roll with Counterbalance. Hammerforged gives you a boost to range. Would be nice to have a stability boost, but we don't really have that, although Eye of the Storm could be handy in that respect. Flared Magwell gives you a bonus to reload speed, but personally I would be running Snapshot on that tree with Hammerforged and Counterbalance. Then we've got the MD Reflex sight, which is a handy sight to have. Quick Draw, not too bad either, gives you a slight reload increase, or OEG as well. On this one, probably again you've got decent sights all the way down. MD Reflex or the OEG you might be interested in running there. The other weapon to look at here, of course the Wormwood's always worth looking at, but the Warpath with tracking It has heavy payload, increases the blast radius to max. You can see that there. But personally, I'd be running tripod along with Field Scout. Field Scout, tripod, and tracking makes this a pretty darn good PvE role, and it's not too bad in PvP either, especially because Field Scout and tripod, you pick up 3 rockets rather than just 2. Confined launch has a bit of a penalty to velocity, which is where we start. If you go with smart drift control, you've got an even further penalty to velocity, but you get a bit of a boost to stability, completely wasted on a rocket launcher. But the one you want to roll here would be hard launch with an increase to velocity. It's a reasonable boost there, and that boost to blast radius, which if you're running tripod rather than heavy payload, almost gets you that additional boost to blast radius that you'd be looking for there. Definitely worth looking at if you're looking for a rocket launcher. Dead Orbit probably has the weapon of the week, this Extremophile auto rifle with a laser beam. It has counterbalance and perfect balance, already with decent stability for an auto rifle. It has okay range, it's not great, but with counterbalance, perfect balance, and then if you run quick draw or armor piercing, gives you a slight boost to range as well. It's +4 to range. The MD Reflex Sights Quick Draw or the OEG Rifle Scope also gives you a small boost to range. You could probably run that if you'd like, but MD Reflex is probably the one to run here, although the Quick Draw also gives you a boost to the reload. This is a really handy auto rifle to grab, certainly, probably in my opinion, the weapon of the week. Third Eye is a handy alternative, but why would you run Third Eye when you've got perfect balance and counterbalance just here? I hope you got something out of this video, Guardians. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can catch me on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Instagram, BoylerRoom81. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.